Hello there, my name is Alexander Katarinchuk, and in this video I'm going to show you how we can use SFCC Development MCP server for vibe coding using VS Code and GitHub Copilot. So for this to work we need basically three steps. One is first configure AI instruction, so essential AI instructions required. Second step would be to configure MCP server, and the third step to configure or copy client. So let's start with AI instructions. Let's go here. So we're gonna use GitHub Copilot, and we need to put this file in .github folder. Let's go to our code. I'm gonna use the clean SFRA code. So we need to put these instructions, same name, in this folder. And let's open this file and copy the content. And I'm gonna save it. Let's take a brief look at these instructions. So that's what Copilot gonna use. What is important is this part. So this project uses this MCP server and always use available MCP tools instead of relying on potentially outdated information. You can adjust the instructions above to your needs and to your project. You can actually ask Copilot to analyze your project and generate some instructions. So I'm gonna remove the code linting. We don't need this for this video. Let me go here, code linting, delete, save. Okay. Next is configure MCP server. Let's go back here. AI assistant setup. So we're gonna configure in full mode. And what we need for VS Code, actually I prefer to, first of all we need .vs code folder, if you then don't have it already, in the root, not in the GitHub. VS Code. And in this folder I prefer to use mcp.json file to which stores configuration for our MCP server. So now we're gonna copy this one, and when we use this mcp.json, we need just to use servers here, not MCP servers. And once we save it, when you go here in extensions, you're gonna see MCP servers installed here. And now we need to adjust the path to DW.json. So it's absolute path here. Let's use relative with dot here. So I don't have actually DW.json yet. We're gonna configure it with this. Where do we have it? Configuration guide, interactive DW.json builder. And from security perspective, I would actually use a dedicated DW.json for Copilot. For example, DW.json Copilot, which doesn't have access with credentials that doesn't have access to staging or production environment. But for this video, I'm gonna just use one DW.json. And let's show advanced, and let's configure using this builder. So for the host name, let's copy the host for the sandbox, username and password credentials, and you need to have client ID and client secret. It should be created by architect or tech lead. So for this video I'm gonna use 30As which available for sandboxes. A, and let's paste it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And the same for secret. Code version. This one. And site ID it will be ref arc. So we can copy this configuration and let's create the WJSON here in the root. And save it. And the next step would be to configure this client in the sandbox or copy settings. So let's go administration, site development, open commerce API settings, and we need data here. Context should be global for data always. And we have configuration here. So we can just copy, paste, and hit save. At this point we should be good with our MCP server. Let me close these files, let me upload the code. And to confirm that our MCP server is in use, we can go here in the settings within the agent. And down below we have this SFCC dev, our MCP server, and we can check what tools are available. So get code versions, activate code version, get latest error, and so on. Now let's test this out. And to test this out, I'm gonna break some things. So for example, I'm gonna break some product factory. For example, I'm gonna use an existing method, get product by ID here, and it should break any PDP page. So let's try to refresh this page, and we have 500 error here. There's no public for this, there's no method. So now let's try to ask Copilot to fetch this page and to fix it. I'm gonna close it to not give any clue for the agent. So fetch next URL, observe an error and fix it if possible. Okay, fetch web page, yes, allow. So approve tool result fetched, allow. And it's looking to product.js. And let's check what it changed. Yep. So it actually did the right change. Yeah, yes, allow. and it confirmed that the issue is fixed. Let's do the same. Yep, now it's good. So next, let's introduce some errors which will not be visible in the storefront. So the Copilot will have to check the logs in the Business Manager. So for this to do, I'm gonna introduce some reference error in variation attribute ASML. And for example, I'm gonna reference not attr but attribute. That should be a reference error, and for the type error, I'm gonna use main attributes ASML, and I'm gonna remove this null check. So save, close files, and let's refresh this page. So we can see something is different now, and if you're gonna check the logs, so we have some errors. Let's take a look at them. At the very bottom, so there is a reference error about attribute and type error about can't read property length from null. So let's ask an agent to check the error logs and to fix them. SFCC error logs fix beard in PDP. So he's trying to use get latest error tool from MCP server. Yes, let's allow it. And it found that there is something wrong about variation template. Let's give him some more time. And it also found about main attributes ASML. So let's see the changes. Yes, that one is correct. And the second one is also correctly resolved. So there is some explanation. We don't need this. I'm just gonna hit keep. And that's it. Now let's try some tricky error. So in this sandbox, I'm using the compatibility mode 18.10, which is a very old one, and this mode does not support loops for off. So let's find some loop. For example, it should be in cart helpers. Here. And let's search for. So we have this traditional loop. Let's change it to for off loop. So it's gonna be for our selected option of selected options. And it's suggested to change this. Yeah. So this is the correct syntax and it will work in the latest compatibility mode, but it will not work in this, the one I have in my sandbox, which makes it tricky. So I'm gonna save this, and it is expected when we're gonna try to add product to the cart, there's gonna be an error. So let's refresh this page. And let's select any size, color, and let's try to add to cart. And we have 500 error, something about for loop in the cart helpers. So let's try to resolve it with GitHub Copilot. So the instruction is going to be next. Let's close the file to not give any clues to Copilot. And there is some error when I add a product to the cart. Investigate SFCC logs and fix it if possible. So it's again trying to use get latest error tool. Let's allow it. And it found it. Let's see how it will resolve it. The issues for loop uses more than for off syntax, which may not be supported in SFCC Reno engine. Let's check the changes. Yep. Now it should be good. Let's add the product to the cart. And it's good, 200. There is a lot of other ways we can use Copilot. We can check the code version currently activated. We can change the code version. We can fetch some site custom preference and check the current value, even if it's with type of password. It will show you the value. And a lot of other things. Before wrapping up, I'm also gonna raise some security concerns. So first, like I mentioned about DWJSON, using DWJSON, it is better to have dedicated DWJSON file for using with Copilot without access to staging and production instances. And the same is about Okapi client. The Okapi client used here should not be configured in the staging or production. That's it. I hope this was helpful to you. Bye.